Hi, I'm Diana and I'm coming to you from Southland, New Zealand. Today I'm going to address the elephant in the knitting room. Have you ever watched a YouTube tutorial and you are just getting confused or more confused than when you started because the yarn comes from the other side, the stitches are worked differently, and you just can't understand what's wrong, the way how you hold your yarn or you work your stitch. Let me tell you something from my experience, and I do hope that's going to bring some clarification to you and maybe make you feel more comfortable the way how you knit. If you've learned to knit, let's say in the last century, dinosaurs like me, then you most likely learned to knit in school, or you've been taught by your mother, your grandmother, your auntie, maybe some older friends or some older siblings. In rare cases, I would say maybe you try to learn to knit from a book or copying in the mirror one of the older friends or siblings. However, most of the time there was somebody or someone there physically present showing you how to hold the yarn and the needles, how to tension the yarn, and how to manipulate the needle to create the stitches. I grew up in Eastern Europe and I learned to knit maybe in the very early 80s or maybe even the late 70s. I learned to knit in school, but my mother and my grandmother knitted. They knitted mainly in the winter because we used to have long winter nights, and I knitted on and off during pretty much all my life, and I knitted how I learned. Yarn position on the left, tension on my forefinger, and then using my right hand needle to pick up stitches. Everybody who I knew knitted exactly the same, and I was not aware of the existence of other styles or methods. Move forward to this century and 2000s, and I moved to New Zealand. With the arrival of some new babies in the family, I rediscovered how much joy knitting actually brings to me. And working with some fine New Zealand merino, it was just an extra bonus. But hold on, my mother-in-law is a beautiful knitter. And then I met a few other knitters, and everybody was knitting so differently than me. The yarn was coming from the right hand side, and it looked to me like it was aggressively thrown over the needle to create the stitches. Needless to say, I was fascinated by their style while they were fascinated by my style. I'm not saying it was one wrong or right style, but we were just a wee bit amazed how different we do, and the end result is the same. The stitches, when you're looking on the stitches on the needle, you could see they are positioned a little bit differently, but then the end result was the same. At one stage I was trying to learn the New Zealand style, because at that stage we didn't know if it's got a name or it's just because New Zealanders knit differently. But I kept going back to my method because I just found it so much faster and easier to do it, because that's how I knitted for so many years. I do need to mention that internet was around, but no YouTube. Imagine our life without YouTube. I believe YouTube turns 20 this month, February, and Facebook I think just turned 21. Let's forward again a few years. YouTube started in 2005, but it took a few years for the knitting tutorials or knitting related videos to show up on YouTube. The first one I discovered was Stacy from Very Pink Knits, and that was probably about 15 years ago, I would say. I still believe she's one of the most professional, let's call it knitting teacher, and on YouTube, and her videos her tutorials are amazing, very concise at the object, and she covers a lot of techniques. I watched a lot of YouTube videos until finally I found out somebody else who is working exactly the same like me, knitting the way how I knit and purling the way how I purl, and I found that my style is continental and my method is Eastern. So there are 5 common styles. I'm not going to go in big details about this, maybe with another video, but the styles, the knitting styles refer to the way how the yarn is held and how the yarn is wrapped around the working knitting needle. And these are English, probably the most common. Yarn comes from the right hand side, and sometimes it's called as a thrower because you throw the yarn over the working needle. Then we've got continental style, sometimes called German. The yarn comes from the left hand side needle and you pick the yarn to create new stitch. Lever knitting I'm the less familiar with. You flick the yarn using your dominant hand. Then we've got Portuguese style, when the yarn is actually wrapped around the back of your neck or on a ring on your top. Then the last one is the Shetland, when the working needle is held against the body. And I've seen quite a few people here in New Zealand holding the straight needles under the arm. So these are the 5 most common styles, and then the methods are related to the way you form the stitches and how the stitches are mounted on the needles. And we've got Western, Eastern, and the combination of these two called combination. So I'm not going to go in details for this because it's going to be a very, very long video, but I'm planning on making some tutorials for my style and my method. So however, there are thousands and thousands of knitting tutorials and knitting gurus on YouTube, and sometimes it might take a while for you to find the one that shows you something in your style or in your method. So that's me for today, and we'll catch up again soon. Please do let me know in the comments what's your style or your method, or your style and method. And if you'd like me to cover something specific, please do let me know. Bye bye for now.